All right. Welcome back to Patrolling in Paradise, the official podcast of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Good to be back again. My name is Chris.
I'm Gabriella.
And we are the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Public Information Team. Gabriella, why don't you go ahead and introduce today's guest?
So today we are joined by Deputy John Smith of the Marine Patrol Unit. Go ahead and say hello.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Oh, coming in hot over there, John.
Right.
All right. So, John, you spent the day out on the water today?
I did, yes.
You look like you got some sun.
Yeah, it was 90 degrees out there, and it was a blast. There's a lot of people out, so we were out patrolling and doing some enforcement on the water today.
What were they out for today? Just general good weather and let's get out and have some fun?
Well, it's Easter weekend, so I think everybody was taking advantage of the hot sun today, and everybody was all over the place. LGI, Chadwick Cove, Stump Pass.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you were out there today just patrolling or?
So early morning, I took out the canine unit. We were doing training with their dogs in the water. And then this afternoon, before we started the podcast today, I was in Chadwick Cove checking on enforcement of the boats in the mooring area.
Were they doing the doggy paddle?
No. I think some of them, there was only one dog, but it looked to be a pretty good swimmer, honestly.
Good.
So the dogs weren't in the water; they were on the boats.
So they were on the boats. That's part of the training. Get
Okay.
on the boats, and then actually the dog was in the water at LGI, Little Gasparilla Island today.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah. So the water was warm. We had a couple of the canine officers in the water too, so it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So now you keep saying patrolling, and of course, you know the name of our podcast, Patrolling in Paradise.
Right.
You probably have one of the coolest, if not the coolest job in the entire agency. You get to go out on the water and spend all day in the sunshine, and really, you kind of have the ability to just take it all in while you're doing your job. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's I've been with the unit for a year and a half now, and I come from Pennsylvania, so there's not much blue water like that. So it's the best. It's the best of both worlds. I think it's the best job in the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office is the Marine unit. So,
And you're kind of new to the unit, right?
I am. I'm officially, like I said, a year and a half with the unit, and I have very little boating experience, so I had a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, I come full circle with it, and it's amazing. I'm just happy to be on a unit, and like I said, I get to patrol the beautiful blue waters of Charlotte County.
So you say beautiful blue waters, and of course, I'm going to say again, Patrolling in Paradise.
Right.
But you recently had a day that wasn't paradise. Can
Correct.
you talk about your recent rescue that you had?
Yeah, so I had a trainee with me. It was February 25th, a couple months ago.
Okay.
And it was early, it was probably late afternoon, and I was in the area of Stump Pass, and we had a call for two people on a boat that were in distress. So approximately 2 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico. So I had the trainee with me, and we responded, and we got out. It was about 6 to 7 foot seas, and we rescued two people on that boat that were in pretty poor condition, dehydrated, motion sickness, and then we brought them into Stump Pass.
Oh, and I know just from obviously speaking with you about that rescue before this, and they were just so appreciative. They didn't want any of the publicity. They didn't want to be named or anything, but they were just so grateful for the effort that you put in to go out there and to rescue them and to really save their lives.
Yeah, the two gentlemen, they wrote a letter. Actually, I believe they came into the sheriff's office as well with a thank you, and just wanted to be anonymous, but thanked myself and the other deputy that was with me. It was a great honor, and it's like in a day's work for me, though. It's just something I do. You don't think much about it, though. You just go ahead and do it.
I think it's funny that you did that, and again, I know that I was there when you got the media interviews, and I know that it affected you personally, and I saw that come out.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny that you say, it's all in a day's work, but
It is.
When you reflect on it, it's when those emotions start catching up, right?
Yeah, and I think most people when you say 6 to 7 foot seas, you don't really think much of it. I was in a 20-foot vessel. It would have taken way too long to go back to get the bigger vessel, and I think the outcome would have been different. So yeah, it's probably was the boat handled well, and my skills that I was taught, it's just like second nature. And we went out, rescued them. It was like I said, the water was pretty rough that day, and I didn't. When you're in the intercoastal and like Stump Pass, you don't realize that until you get out there, and it's like there's no turning back now. But you couldn't see initially that the water was as rough as it was.
Sure.
Wow.
Sure. And we had you on the news for that. I remember the amazing PIO team of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office coordinated a bunch of that.
They're great people, aren't they?
They are amazing.
I love them.
Unbelievable people. But as much as we joke around, I do want to point out that you seemed more, I guess the word is intimidated by the media interviews than it sounds like you were jumping into the rescue that you performed hours before.
Yeah, so I'm not really a big public person, to go out and do a lot of press releases. I have done a lot of them, but I think each media person, I think they tick like a certain part of you. So that individual actually, made me really think in depth of what actually happened and what transpired. So, like I said, everybody's different, and the way she asked the questions, it made you think about it.
Sure.
Made you reflect a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I know we're only in April, but believe it or not, we're going to be quickly approaching Memorial Day weekend and summertime.
Yes.
And you and your unit are going to be very, very busy.
And today, I already saw that with Easter weekend. Most of the schools are off already. So families and vacationers were out in full force today at Gasparilla, where I was at the marina. I could see it on the water. So it's starting already, and we're going to be out there, enforcement, but we want everybody to have a good time and have fun at the same respect. But, like I said before, and I even think I said it in the media too, just watch the weather. That's key, and just know your ability. Today, it's been windy the last couple weeks here in April, which I haven't seen as windy as it was before in the past couple years. But once again, just check the weather, make sure it looks okay, and then your skills also. That's important.
Yeah.
So what about if I'm out on the boat? What safety tips can you give me? I've already decided the weather's fine. I'm going out on the boat today with my buddies, and maybe we're fishing or maybe we're just cruising around. What should I do to stay safe?
So obviously safety gear, so your life vests, your life jackets. Make sure everybody has them and they know where they're at. Make sure you have flares in case something goes wrong. Make sure you have a GPS or a well-charged phone that you know where you're at. And make sure, I think the most important thing is make sure you at least tell somebody where your destination is or where you plan to be. So in case something does happen, we're able to have a starting point.
Okay. So Gabriella alluded to the summertime and a lot of how busy you guys are going to be. I think there's a lot of concerts and things of that nature that
there's
happen.
the Memorial Day concert on the Sandbar.
Okay.
And then 4th of July, there's probably some events. I'm not sure what those events are, if they're scheduled yet. But the Sandbar becomes a very big opportunity for people to come out and party, listen to good music, hang out with friends and family. And the only thing, like I said, we ask is that you're cognizant of everybody else, cognizant of the rules of the water, watching the slow speed minimum wakes for the mammals and other people and other boats as well. So got to take that all into account.
Sure, of course.
So
how about BUIs? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So yes, last year I did have one. We had an incident with a fight, and I had one BUI. We're going to have enforcement with FWC out as well. They'll be assisting us and other agencies. So it's very important. If you're going to drink, we can't stop you from drinking, but at least maybe designate somebody that is not going to be the one to be drinking, so everybody's safe.
Yeah, I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you guys are out there. You're not out there to stop them from having fun. You're not out there to stop them from, enjoying the concert on the water, which sounds like a blast. You're just out there to make sure that they're partying and having fun safely and responsibly, because being intoxicated on the water can lead to a plethora, I'm sure, of really bad days.
Yeah, and that's the key. We want everybody to be fun, have fun, and want everybody to be safe as well. So, like I said before, we are not out there to cause any issues with anybody or arrest anybody, but we want everybody to be safe and have fun, but be responsible. I don't know if that's somebody else in the boat, but just be cognizant of what you're doing.
So out there on the water, we had that one big rescue that we've already talked about. Any other days that kind of stand out to you as, hey man, this was a day when I really thought my job was pretty cool?
Actually, I'll be honest with you. Every day for me on the water is pretty cool. We do a plethora of things. So we're out whether it's just patrolling to certain areas where everybody's at, or just doing enforcement on boats that that maybe need somebody to correct some things. It goes from one thing. We could be towing vessels, taking them for maintenance. The job is, you never know what each day is going to bring. So it's just a surprise in some respects. It's awesome.
Okay. A lot of the news stories lately have been circulating about behavior out on the water and the way people have kind of gone a little too far with the way that they treat other people, and without getting into the specifics of what those cases are, I'm sure you've seen and heard about them.
Yes.
What advice can you give to somebody who's just going out and wants to have a good time and is not looking to get into something like that?
Well, basically, if something does happen like that, obviously call us. Don't wait to let things brew any more further into it. If you have a confrontation with somebody, and you don't think something's right, then, call us. Whether it's in Punta Gorda, whether it's in the harbor, we have units all over. So just call, report it. Don't wait. We don't know what's going on. There may be something else. I think the best thing is if you see something and you think something's not right, it's probably your gut telling you it's not. So reach out to us. Because if we don't know, it's not much we can do either. We're just going to go on to the next thing and think everything's okay.
Sure.
So you see something, you say something.
Great advice, and literally all around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So say something. If we want to contact somebody, we're out on the water, we've got this problem, this guy's giving us a hard time, whatever it might be. What's the best way to say something? Because it's probably not.
Well, depending upon, I guess reception sometimes can be spotty on certain parts of the water. So obviously, cell phone 911 if it's critical emergency. I would just say 911 at this point. And it kind of depends where you're at. Some of the areas, Punta Gorda. Mostly it's Charlotte County, though.
Sure.
Certain parts of the harbor are, like Lashley Marina, for instance, is the city of Punta Gorda.
And we would recommend everybody have the CCSO non-emergency number stored in their phone or written down on their vessel somewhere in case they do encounter something that maybe isn't a 911 call. But
for instance, you see a dolphin too. Mammals. We got a lot of calls about manatees lately. Dolphins in the water that aren't surfacing properly. People realize that, or you have injured manatee. So we do get calls, and a lot of times FWC routes it to us, and we usually assist them in maybe taking the animal to Tampa, where they have it's like an emergency center for the manatees, where they raise them and bring them back.
Sure.
Oh.
We actually saw one of those recently with I think it was the Marine unit that helped out with the manatee that was trapped in the canal. I know our aviation unit was out there too.
Yes.
So that's a pretty cool.
That's
cool
a lot. We get a lot of those calls, and it's sad to see sometimes. They get hit with a boat prop. So a lot of times, we'll just call FWC, and they're biologists. They know exactly what to do. We usually pick them up at one of the marinas, just kind of based off of where the animal is at too.
Cool. It's fascinating to me, and I know that Gabriella feels the same way, that you have this job that really you get to go out all day and do something that you really just love to do in general anyway.
It's a dream job.
And
it
you
really
get paid
is.
to do it, and it's pretty cool that you get to do that, and like we said, save lives. Whether it be marine life or human life, you're still out there doing it. So, we appreciate all the stuff that you guys do, and you were out there in those 6 to 7 foot waters, like you were talking about with those two gentlemen that were incapacitated, and that's not easy for you. That puts a toll on your body. So.
Yeah, like I said, it was rough water too. So you're going up and down with the boat, up, down, up, down. It does take a toll on your legs and your body too. So,
and I remember you telling me before about trying to get next to them and tie your boats together, and the struggle that ended up being. Yeah,
it was a little bit of a struggle. I didn't really want to tie. I just wanted to loop so I could come close to it, because I knew the waves would push against our boat, and at times, it could cause us to, it could tilt, or the water could come over. So I just really didn't want to tie. I just wanted to loop on there, and that's what we wound up doing. But I think it took about 2 times till I could get in the right position, just because of the waves. I didn't want to cause our boat to rock a certain way and injure us at the same time.
Don't rock the boat. That's always good advice.
That's true. That's very true.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here and being a part of the podcast. It's always cool to get to talk to people in these specialty units and learn a little bit about what makes them tick. And but what we didn't do is we didn't ask you about you.
Oh.
So
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you having me. So about me, so I'm retired from the city of Allentown in Pennsylvania. That's where I came from. I retired in 21 after almost 22 years of service there. And then I moved my family down here. We were in Northport, Florida. And I really wasn't planning to go back into it, but I was working security up in Sarasota, and I had an incident where there was a burglary in progress that I came upon. And I took action and realized, I miss it. And here we are, and Charlotte County hired me in 22. So I'm here for about going on my 4th year of service with Charlotte County, and I couldn't be happier.
very nice.
Wow.
Somebody sitting at home thinking, well, I was thinking about maybe working for the sheriff's office and maybe getting into a specialty unit, but I just don't know if I have what it takes.
Well, so I started with Charlotte County in the road unit again. So I worked in District 3 for a while. So you want to get acclimated with the road so you know where you're at. And then as time goes on, I just selected the Marine unit because that's one thing I haven't done in my career. And it's going to be almost 27 years now. So I would advise anybody that wants to do police work to get into it. You got to start at the bottom, but you work yourself up, and it's a rewarding experience. I mean, look, I was on patrol for 2 years, and now I'm in the best unit in the world.
Talk about a quick turnaround.
Yeah, thanks.
You answered that calling, and bam, look at you now.
and like I said, it's a dream job. I mean, I get to work on the water all the time, and it's just awesome. It's awesome.
Well, we're glad that you're here.
Well, thanks again for having me. I appreciate it.
You do a lot out there, and not just in the water, but I see you when you're engaging with the community at our special events, and you really do put all you have into it.
I appreciate that.
No, we appreciate it truly because it represents what the best of us is, and I think that you're a good model for that.
I appreciate that. Thanks again.
100%.
Thank you.
Because I always seem to screw it up lately, I'm going to have Gabriella close the show out, and then we'll hit the music and catch everybody next time.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Patrolling in Paradise, and we will see you next time.